Anyways, hey kid, how's it going? It's just me talking to you about stuff. I told you I was going to try to do this once a month, so this is the video. This is the intro now. If you're not having a good year, hopefully you're having a good month. Not a good month, then a good week. Not a good week, then I hope you're having a good day. If not a good day, then at least you're having a good moment. Alright, that's first and foremost. Secondly, don't be part of the 54% of adults who can't read past 6th grade. That's the only thing I wish for you. Honest to God, one thing I wish for you. Right, it's just don't be that kid, that person. Anyways, so I'm not gonna lie to you. Right now, my current situation, a lot of things are happening. A lot of bad, weird stuff is happening. In February, I think, remember correctly, February, it was Good who was killed by ICE. It was also Alex Preddy who was killed by ICE. What else? A lot of people getting deported. Unfortunately, one of my students is being affected by it, and they're going home, going back to their country out of fear of the current political situation. And also, this year is supposed to be a World Cup year. It doesn't feel like it, at least not here. It's supposed to be literally here in America. It's supposed to be happening, but it doesn't feel like a World Cup year. It does feel grim. It does feel grim. However, I'm trying to spread a little bit more good things, all right, including where it may or may not. Well, I'm just trying to find some good things that are happening in society. First and foremost, what I want to talk about for today is this thing called Bentley's Law. Right. So Texas, I think Texas was the last one to pass this law. Essentially, Bentley's Law, at least here, it says, like other meaningful legislation, the impetus of Bentley's Law stems from a tragedy affecting the lives of Bentley and Mason, whose parents were tragically killed due to a drunk driver. Their grandmother tirelessly pursued legislation which would require drunk drivers convicted of killing a parent to pay child support to surviving minor children. And in 2022, the Tennessee legislature was the first state to pass such legislation known as Ethan's, Haley's, and Bentley's Law to honor Tennessee children who lost their father due to a drunk driver. Our HB 393 requires impaired drivers to pay civil restitution when an impaired driver causes the death of a parent. This legislation ensures greater accountability and provides another avenue of restitution to affected victims. Okay, so personally, I'm not gonna lie, I like this law. And the fact that Texas, of all places, passes law. This is the same place that has a requirement for now for all teachers to have the 10 commandments in all classrooms. I'm talking about public schools. There's a requirement to have the 10 commandments in public schools, which I personally think is stupid, because we literally have in the Constitution separation of church and state. Like, if you're gonna do it in public schools, why not just do it at the post office? Right? It to me is very. I'm getting off topic here. Bentley's Law is a law essentially stating the fact that, hey, if you are a drunk driver and you killed a parent and you're convicted of that crime, you should pay child support, which I personally agree with. Right? And I'm curious to see which states have passed the Bentley's Law. So it says, at least according to this, it is, where's the source from? Patterson Press, mad.org, Washington State Standards.org, BrockManInjuryLawyer.com, ValleyLawUtah.com, FirstAlert.com. Okay, so it appears that these are somewhat credible sources, which is a whole other thing I got to talk to you about. Credible sources, first primary source, secondary source, all that things. Because I'm a history teacher, that's what we do. Anywho's, so the places that have passed the Bentley's Law was Tennessee, Kentucky, Texas, and Maine. Tennessee was the first one, then Kentucky. Texas did it. Texas passed it in June 2023. Took effect September 1st, 2023. Wow, that was 3 years ago. I thought it was just like recent. And then Maine signed it into law in June 2023. Personally, I think it should be almost a federal thing. Personally, only because, listen, I understand the fact that, like, someone gets, you go out drinking and then you drive. When I say understand, in the sense of, like, you weren't planning to do this, right? That was not your intention. However, in my opinion, if you do get drunk, please, to God, go home, right? walk home, get an Uber, get a taxi, have a friend drive you, right? Do not drive drunk or impaired by any means whatsoever. Shoot, I'm not gonna lie. Last night, I went to a basketball game with a friend. Had a few drinks, and she said, "Hey, are you gonna drive?" I'm like, "No." There's absolutely no way I'm going to drive, right? So, and I woke up this morning, and I was fine, right? And I drove home. I do believe and agree with the sense of that. Yes, if you are convicted of drunk driving and killing a parent, you should pay child support for that kid. Because you directly, right? It may not be intentional, right? That's not the point here. It's not about the intention. I think that's a whole big thing, right? Even about I didn't talk about intention, at least in the aspect of political and just like life as a whole, right? Your intention was not to kill someone, right? That was not your intention. However, you're being punished for the consequence, and I think personally, this crime, or rather, yeah, this crime. No, the punishment. That's what I'm looking for. The punishment does fit this crime. It works. I think it works. I'm fine with it. I'm okay with that. I really have no issues or problems. But yeah, kid, I think that's basically the whole entire video. I think this punishment fits this crime appropriately. Now, I don't really see how people will try to abuse this. I mean, the only way I could see it being abused theoretically. No, let me not play with that. No, my brain's gonna go down to a dark path, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that because I'm trying to make it a little positive, make it a little bit lighter. Okay, Bentley's law passed in Tennessee, Kentucky, Texas, and Maine. I think should be in all 50 states. Personally, should be a federal law. That's just me. All right. Anyways, dear child, I love you, and have a good day. Bye.